Hello again. My name is Faye, and I'm a part of the Innovest team. I'd like to welcome you all to our session today. So basically, we've organized this info session to shed more light on the Innovest Ignite Accelerator program, what it's about, how it works, and the kind of support and opportunities that will be available to the founders that participate. Today, we'll be hearing from our founder and CEO, Femi Moito, and a few of our partners who are on this journey with us. We have Brenda Chitu from ABLI. We have Anita from Cloud Plexo. They'll just be taking us through, what their organization does and how they've chosen to collaborate in this journey. So we'll do our best to make it very informative while keeping to the allotted time. And at the end of the session, you have the opportunity to ask questions and make further inquiries. So that being said, I think we can kick off, starting with Brenda. Brenda, would you like to take over, please?
Thank you, Femi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brenda Chusi, and I'm the Regional Manager for Africa Business Leadership Institute. And we are here today because we partnered with Innovest Afrika on a journey to empower women and most importantly, provide an opportunity for funding or sponsorship. And I don't want to preempt this. Femi will come in after my speech to shed more light into what this is all about. So why are we particularly interested in women, right? We focus on a gender lens, and when we do that, investing comes in play. So our approach is to look beyond just returns and to actively seek investment for women-owned, women-led, or women impact businesses. And so we are seeing encouraging momentum. I would like to bring it closer to home. On the platform today are phenomenal ladies we've partnered with. We have Bwasa in the house. Shout out to Bwasa, Business Women Association of South Africa. We have National Mentorship Movement in the house, and I'm sure these ladies will come on and share what they're all about. And also Nkateko, I'm going to what's going to happen on the 31st of August. Otherwise, we are an ecosystem which is evolving, and we have more accelerators, more mentorship platforms, more investors willing to listen and to actually go the extra mile and invest in women-led businesses. However, the gaps remain clear. Access to capital is still the biggest hurdle. Yes, South African market tries, the corporate, the government tries to chip in here and there, but still, access to capital is still the biggest hurdle. Access to networks even, those rooms where deals are made is limited for many women founders. And critically, access to skills development, particularly in leadership, scaling, and investor readiness. So these areas remain uneven, which is where ABLI comes in to offer leadership training, and we can also tailor-make modules to best suit the needs of our target audience. We also have Bizpreneur, and we have Dr. Ilona on the platform. She will have an opportunity to speak and shed light into what she does. We have partnered with her as well, and together we are working on, improving the impact of the women-led businesses. So that's why programs like the Innovest Afrika Accelerator matter so deeply, because they are designed to address these gaps holistically, combining funding pathways with mentorship, training, and access to markets. So without further ado, I will pass the mic over to Femi. And I know ladies on the platform who are here to support ABLI, to support this initiative, will have an opportunity to speak. But once again, I'd like to say thank you to all the ladies who are here today, particularly to those whom we have collaborated with. And on mute, we have also Rita. Happy to say we met today with Rita, and she's busy organizing one or two things so that we can be up and running as a cohort. So yeah, thank you very much. Over to you, Femi.
Good morning from Houston, and I know some people are about to end their day, but yeah, that's the circle of the earth. Very happy to be here. My name is Femi Moito. I am the founder of Innovest Afrika, and the reason why we are gathered here this morning / end of the day for some people is to talk about our program in South Africa, the Innovest Afrika, the Innovest Ignite Accelerator, currently in its 4th edition. And for the first time, we're having a focused accelerator program. This time we're doing it specifically for women founders, women-led businesses. And we have been very privileged to partner with the ABLI. You just heard Brenda speak about the organization, and they are driving it on the ground. So thank you all for joining the call. I will try to keep this as brief and as succinct as possible. I think sometimes I talk a little too fast. So if I mumble through my words, please feel free to raise your hand so that you will slow me down, and I'll take it again. This video is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube. So if you have any friends that wanted to join and couldn't make it, we will share the link to everybody that's registered, and you can share with them. So I will start by sharing my screen to talk a little bit about Innovest Afrika and what we're about and the program. And let's start there. That's a good place to start. So you would see that we have two hooks on our slide. We will talk about powering early stage entrepreneurial success, and we also talk about bridging the funding gap for founders of African descent. It was a struggle to choose one, so we decided to leave it as two, because that's really what we do. We are really focused on how to help early stage entrepreneurs, founders, business owners to scale their businesses to the next level. And at the same time, the core of what we do is really about how do we help these founders of African descent get funding. I mean, if you're doing a small mom and pop store, you just have a small business, you want to grow it over your lifetime, you really don't need funding. You probably can reinvest your profits. But if you have a business that wants to scale and you want to employ 150 people, then you realize that at some point, it's going to be really difficult for you to keep reinvesting your profits if you want to scale as fast as you can. And that's where investments come in. So that's really the focus of what we do. How do we help businesses that can scale on the continent, owned by Africans, or building for Africa? How can we help these businesses scale? I mean, the challenge is very present. In the last 10 years, just 2% of global VC funding have gone to founders of color. And the sad part is when you talk about founders of color, at least from the American perspective, it's not just Black people, it's not just Africans, it's South Americans, it's Indians, it's anybody who's not European or European descent. So you can see the huge disparity in how funding circulates. And it's really why you see how some economies are developed so much with so much, I mean, the distance between the developmental distance between, say, for example, the Western economies and probably the third world economies is so huge because capital circulates in particular places. And the crazy thing about it is that it's not because there's a lack of talent or there's a lack of good ideas. It's just because there's a lack of capital. And according to McKinsey in a June 2023 report, it talks about a 1.6 trillion value to be unlocked. So if founders who are underrepresented today can have access to capital, it is a $1.6 trillion value. And as an organization, we believe that we are in the sweet spot where we can help unlock African innovation by bridging the capital gaps. At the core of what we do is really matching, brilliant founders with investors, making these investors understand the kind of businesses that we do and also understand the potential in these businesses. And to do that, we also have to make sure that the businesses are ready for investment. So that is really what our program is about. It's about helping businesses to get ready for investment and then investing and then exposing them to investors. Defining ourselves, we would say that we invest in visionary entrepreneurs of African descent, solving critical challenges through bold, context-driven innovation. Context-driven meaning that people who look at their environment and they tap into the problem, the way the problem is in their environment and create a solution for it. So it's not just about copying and pasting what you see happening in somewhere else, but the innovation comes from it's local homegrown innovation. And then this innovation, we can actually export it. I think many of us tend to forget how that M-Pesa was really what turned around fintech in Africa. And M-Pesa was local, it was homegrown. It wasn't brought from any, it wasn't done anywhere. It was actually homegrown. But from M-Pesa today, you have companies like Flutterwave, MoneyPoint, OPay, who are doing awesome things. And then our mission is to build an ecosystem of entrepreneurs of African descent to grow, connect, and shape the future of global innovation. We don't think that African innovation should stay on the continent or it should remain African. We think there's a huge opportunity to export even our innovation and, it becomes global. And for the sake of this, I'll just talk about the Accelerator program, which is where we focus on. The Ignite Accelerator is a global accelerator designed to help early stage startups scale fast, raise smart capital, and build resilient, high growth businesses. Global because we work with entrepreneurs or founders of African descent wherever they may be. We have done programs in Lagos, Nigeria. We have done programs in Abuja, also in Nigeria. We just concluded Cohort 3 in Accra, Ghana, and we're looking at Cohort 4, which will be starting in September in South Africa. We envision ourselves going to Europe, to doing programs in the USA. And one of my fantasies is having a program in China, even if it's just 15 African entrepreneurs of African descent in China. Let's go and do something there. So the Accelerator program, I think I'll just go straight to what you expect during the program, which is coaching, mentoring, training, and some support to get founders who participate in the program become investment ready. It's a very intense 6 weeks program. Let me go to the next slide so I can talk about it a little bit more in details. Starting with the cost. So it's free for participants, but it's important that you understand that it's free for the participant because somebody else is paying for you. And this is where our partners come in, especially our financial partners. They sponsor this program so that you can have it for free. And I say this so that people understand that if you go into the program, you're actually taking a potential person's spot. So we really want founders that we work with to give it their best and be serious throughout the 8 weeks. Eligibility for the program is that you must have at least one co-founder of African descent. So one person who is on the founding team must be of African descent. What stage? We think this program is best for early stage. So if you are pre-seed or seed stage, we think this is the right program for you. If you are like Series A, I think you're too far gone. You may not really benefit from what we have to offer because you probably have gone past that process in your business. time commitment, 8 weeks. It's going to be virtual, 100% virtual. We have a learning management platform where we have our courses hosted on. So it's kind of structured for a weekly basis, and then every week you take a course. There's a lot of facilitated sessions where you would have experts come and talk about specific things that relates to the program and how it can help your business. There's also going to be the mentors investor sessions where every participant would have one-on-one session with as many as 4 mentors. We have mentors from all over the world, from the UK, from the US, from other countries in Africa, and then we're very privileged to partner with the ABLI and their partners to have local mentors. The beautiful thing about our mentorship is that it's not one of those what you might call it academic type of mentorship, but these are real business owners who have gone through business challenges like founders should be going through. So you can relate, or they can relate to you, and they can give you advice on how they scale through. We end the Accelerator program with a demo day, and our demo day is like a startup showcase. So every participant will have the chance to pitch in front of our investor partners, in front of ecosystem partners, and the goal of this is to, expose your business to, potential investors, and seeking that at the end of it all, you have generated interest for your business. One question that people always want to know first is, does Innovest Afrika fund people that go through their program? Yes, we do, but we don't fund everybody. And I would repeat this to say that the goal of being on the program is not to receive funding from us. It's really to help you take your business to the next level. But we do fund. As a matter of fact, we just closed an investment yesterday with a startup in Nairobi. We would assess you in the course of your participation in the program, and we're going to assess you. We'll have time to know the founders. We'll have time to understand your business and your business model more. We'll have time to see what you're doing, and at the end of the program, we will take the best of the cohort and move them to our deal room. We have a deal room where we host deals, and we have our investor network that have access to these deals. When we move you to our deal room, it is a more detailed, due diligence process that starts. Typically, it takes about 4 to 6 months, and if you are successful in that due diligence process, then we would probably seek making an investment in you. After the accelerator, we don't just say, hey, you guys, we're done with you, goodbye, and God bless. But we actually follow up with our community. So we have a community where we continue to keep in touch with you, expose you to opportunities, connect you with mentors. If you connect you with investment partners, as an investment group, we also have people who reach out to us and say, hey, we're looking for specific opportunities in this sector or that sector. That's where, being in our alumni is valuable, because we continue to make those introductions for you guys. And also, there are many businesses that we may not be at the point where they're supposed to be at the end of the accelerator. As we continue to work with you and you understand your journey more and you share your journey with us, many times we see businesses that at the time they were in the program, they were not investable, but 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, they're investable. And those are the kind of deals that we will be very happy to participate in, because we already know the founders and we have a history with them. Before I go to the selection, I would like to walk you through the application process. So give me a second. Let me share my screen on how the application process works. Can you see my screen?
We're good to go.
Awesome. So to start the process, you need to go to innovestafrica.org/innovestignite. Or you can just go to our website, innovestafrica.org, and then go to programs. If you go to programs, this page opens up and you'll see the Innovest Ignite Accelerator. And it gives you a bit about, an overview of the accelerator, and then you come to the Apply Now button. So I think you can see for eligibility, you have to be based in South Africa. This program is focused on South Africa. So unfortunately, if you are not living in South Africa, you are not really eligible for the program. You have to be living in South Africa or building for the South African market. And then we ask you if you have at least one founder or co-founder of African descent, and is your startup founded or led by a woman? If you meet the eligibility criteria, then you can proceed. And what is the name of your startup URL, the website, what industry do you operate in? Some of these are drop-down questions, so it gives you options. We like to align what we do with the UN SDGs. So we ask you, which of the sustainable goals is your startup meeting? No poverty, zero hunger. I don't think I mentioned that, but we are agnostic. We do not, it's not like you have to be in fintech or you have to be in agri-tech or you have to be doing health tech. But what we say is, at least it must meet at least one of the UN SDGs. Then we ask you to upload your pitch deck, a description of your startup, your product and who benefits. And then we also want to know your unique advantage, like what are you doing or how is your solution different from what's out there already? And then we go to the, let's know you a bit more, founder's name, your LinkedIn page, email address, phone number. If you have co-founders, you can put all of that in. A little more personal questions about your organization, funding history. Have you participated in an incubator accelerator? Have you raised money before and what type of funding? Are you planning to raise a round very soon? Do you have a valuation? Has your startup been valued, or have you done a valuation on your startup and what is it in USD? And then how much money do you have in the bank? After that, you submit your application, and we would like to know how you heard about us. Was it LinkedIn? Was it word of mouth? Are you referred by somebody? So that's the application process. It's pretty easy and I think it's straightforward. After the application, sorry, I'm trying to change my shared screen. It's not allowing me to do that very easily. So after the application is a selection process, and these are the things we look for. These are the things that we rank applications on to get the people who will participate in the cohort. We look at the team. When we talk about the team, it's not just about the numbers, but we're talking about the skill and expertise. Do you have the requisite skills for the problem you're trying to solve? How passionate are you? And then how can we assess your commitment and your resilience? We also look at the impact and innovation of what you're doing. How disruptive is it? Are you solving a real problem? And then does it positively impact society? Thirdly, we look at the market potential. Is there a market need? And is it something that customers will adopt fast? Is there a fast tech adoption rate? We also look at the MVP. We do understand that for early stage founders, many times your MVP might change. You might start this, you might start it this way, and then maybe after, you test the market, you find out that the market is not responding as fast as you want it to with the product that you have. So we understand that MVP will change over time, but we do want you to have at least an MVP that is in a functional developmental stage. With regards to the MVP also, we also want it to be something differentiated. So you're not just copying and pasting what everybody else is doing. There should be some innovation, something you're doing differently. You're trying to meet a specific market need. And one way that you can validate very fast is, if you already have customer feedback, if you have people saying, hey, I tried the product, this is fantastic, or so, just some kind of good customer feedback. The fifth thing we look at is the product market fit. Is there a market for the product? And is the product fit for the market? Is the market ready to adopt that program at the time? What is the value proposition? Have you been able to, do you have a clearly defined customer segment? And importantly is your pricing strategy, because even if you have the best product and people are not ready to pay for your product, then it's going to be hard for you to sell it. And the last thing we look at is scalability. How fast can your solution grow? There must be a good growth potential. We also like solutions that can leverage tech to scale, because it reduces costs while scaling up, your revenues. And there must be also good unit economics. These are the things we look at. We do understand, and let me emphasize that because most of the businesses we'll be working with are early stage businesses, we don't expect them to tick all these boxes, but these are the things that we look at and we prioritize when we are looking for startups that we would work with. I would share a little bit. I think we're coming to the end, except maybe if we have any other questions, but I'll just share a little bit about what we've done in the past. And this is our Lagos cohort, cohort 1. We had 10 founders. We had, out of the founders, success stories include Blue Room Care, who after the Accelerator program, they got a $100,000 investment from Innovest Afrika. We have Bones, who got into Startup Wise Guys. They got an investment from Startup Wise Guys. So like I said, one thing that is certain is what you learn from us takes you to the next level. That's a given. We also have 2 people in our investment room. We're going to make an investment in Blue Room Care very soon. We've monitored them, we've looked at them, we've done a good due diligence on them, and we think they're ready for an investment from us. Our second cohort was in Abuja, and we had a bigger cohort. We had 25 startups. Same thing, we have like 2 of them. One of them is actually even in an accelerator in San Francisco right now, the NSIA Accelerator. We're making an investment in Sunriser, which does renewable energy. We are looking at AgroVesto in our deal room. And the Ghana cohort, which we just completed, we had 12 startups. And we actually gave grants for the startups in Ghana. They're all in our, 4 of them are in our deal room, but we gave 3 people grants. We gave 2 people grants. We gave Muna Kalati and Fundit. We gave them grants to help them in their businesses. So that's what I have for now. So I have a question here. It says, will all sessions be online or will there be in-person sessions? All sessions will be online. It's going to be a virtual program. You would have access to the LMS. That's the learning management system. You log in, and then your courses will be weekly. Will be a weekly delivery. So every week you have access to a new course, which will only open at the completion of the previous course. And then the mentorship sessions, the facilitated sessions, the expert facilitated sessions, they will all be hosted on Zoom. So it's going to be a fully online program. The only physical part of the program will be the demo day, which is planned for November 19th. And then we would, once every participant of the everybody that's participated in the accelerator to be present in the room. You would have the opportunity to pitch on that day. I have another question here that talks about having a team. It says, does this refer to having at least one co-founder, or can it also include early team members or contractors? Yeah, I think we discussed this with Brenda and the other ladies. But we think if you have a big vision, it's very hard to scale it by yourself. And that's where we talk about having a team. Ideally, we would say having at least a co-founder. It doesn't have to be put in those words, co-founder, but I mean, having somebody that you guys started this together and they have some kind of responsibility in the business. But given that we know that sometimes it's not easy to get a co-founder when you're starting your business, you know, we could if you have employees, like, you know, you have maybe 2-3 dedicated employees, we would take that as a team, you know. So you're working with people, but it's not a solo business. Like, I'm just doing it by myself. Okay, I have a job, and then when I leave my job on Saturdays, I try to build my business. I think that's what we refer to as not having a team. So you're fully invested in it. You have at least 1-2 people who you're working with. Yes, that's what we mean by having a team. Somebody said, I heard you say founders have to be based in South Africa only. Is that correct? And if so, is there any flexibility around, for example, I am South African, but I don't live in South Africa full time. So I said 2 things. I said, you are based in South Africa or you are building for South Africa. So if you're not living in South Africa, but what you're building is for the South African market, we would work with you. But it has.
Mandisa, the Boassa president, I'd like to call upon you to come in and share a thing or two.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the time taken for me to take everybody on the call in terms of the application and what they can expect. I think from our side, the partnership with ABLI is one that allows us as an organization to start really focusing on women's development, different stages of their businesses, different parts in their growth, and ensuring that we are able to support them throughout the journey of business. So ensuring that even startups in this particular cohort are able to get that broader support and development in those particular areas, and they're able to get funding at the end is very critical for us. I think from our perspective, gone are the days of just development for the sake of development. There has to be tangible results at the end. And I think even the call we had with Femi last week is that this particular program is not just about getting funding from the guys on the call at the end, but it allows you to be able to be funding ready or knock on any other door. So don't just think of it as you sat for 8 weeks, you didn't get anything at the end. The most important thing that you received is empowerment, how to pitch, how to ask for money, how to protect your idea and ensure that you get over the line. So I urge you to jump in over the next 8 weeks, because it's critical to get that knowledge, right? You may not get the funding, but no one can take that knowledge away from you. And that's critical in being able to take your business to the next level. So I think that's us for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for keeping it brief, but straight to the point. I will allow Dr. Ilona to wrap up just in case she's still tied up. Nkateko, please come in and share. Thank you. Nkateko?
Yeah, okay, just unmuting myself quickly. Yeah, so I represent the National Mentorship Movement, which is a mentorship movement based in South Africa, where we're looking to match mentors and mentees. So it's a non-profit organization that started in 2015. We're going to be going into we started the genesis of the movement in 2015 and started in earnest in 2016. So next year will serve as our 10-year anniversary. And in doing that, we want to just make sure that we reach out to more businesses specifically women-owned businesses as well as the youth, because that's where the greatest need is. So as a movement, we've got a platform where individuals can apply as to become mentors or mentees, and our platform helps to match the two people, and also guide them through the mentorship relationship for a period of a year. And in that, we have a support structure within the movement that makes sure that the mentorship relationship is actually working. So we look at mentorship from high school all the way to executives. We support executives within whether it's private sector or public sector, where the top executives in the C-suite will let us know who they would like to be mentored by, and then we would reach out on their behalf and then match the two. And then we also deliver mentorship programs within corporates, and we've also done it within retail. One of our big clients has been the V&A Waterfront, where they've got an entrepreneurship village, where we then did the mentorship program. I think we've done 3 cohorts of that. So really our involvement here is to make sure that within the mentorship offering that we also are able to support Innovest and also support the entrepreneurs that then apply. So we're quite excited about that. Thank you, Brenda.
Anita is on the call. Anita works with Cloud Plexo, and Cloud Plexo has been one of our very good support partners. And Anita, if you can hear me, can you unmute your microphone? Yes. And let's see your pretty face, and then you tell us about Cloud Plexo and how you guys support startups.
Okay, let's confirm if you can hear me first. Hello. Great. Great. So thank you so much, everyone. My name is Anita. I lead partnerships and marketing at Cloud Plexo for the West African team. And essentially, I'm glad to be here. I'm very honored to be here, to be part of a community of brilliant, driven women and founders like yourself. Is truly inspiring. Innovest Africa are one of our closest partners. We just finished concluding partnership with them at the Cohort 3 in Ghana, and it was very, very fantastic. We had a very good rapport, and basically the founders have been able to get quality, really good quality turn up from there moving forward. So very quickly and very briefly, at Cloud Plexo, we are more than just a cloud and AI solution company. We see ourselves more as an enabler of innovation across Africa and beyond. And very short, our goal is to just ensure that founders, regardless of your size or stage, you have access to the same cutting-edge tools and infrastructures as the biggest players in the world, right? We know that in the African startup ecosystem, access to like technical expertise and scalability are often major barriers, and that's the gap we aim to close. And basically, for women founders especially, we want to ensure that technology is not a roadblock, but an accelerator. So whether it's helping you basically to scale your infrastructure affordably or integrate AI into your products you're building, your mobile app, your web application, your website, want us to help you integrate AI into it or help you with scale your cloud solution, optimize your operations so you can focus on growth. We're here to help you support that journey. We've seen firsthand how collaboration can change the game. Like what we did in Nairobi, we hosted a female founders brunch. That was what we did to bring together women-led startups to connect, to share challenges and explore solutions. We also did something very recently with we ran the Female Founders and Funders program with Lagos State Employment Trust Funds here in Nigeria. So we are basically trying to bridge the gap between women entrepreneurs and access to funding. And these are not one-off event for us. They are part of an ongoing commitment to make sure that women in tech and businesses have the support, the network and resources that you all need to thrive. So to every founder out there, know that you're not alone. Cloud Plexo is invested in your success. We want you to dream big, build boldly, and want to make sure that the next wave of African tech innovation is powered by women like you. So thank you so much for having us as one of your partners, Innovest Africa. And always, we can't wait to connect with as many of you as possible.
Thank you, Anita.